sensible. They're just young and full of vivacity. If I was half as beautiful as them, I'd be twice as silly.
Charlotte, you are twice as beautiful as they are, and you're worth 10 of them.
It's all right, Lucy. I know I'm plain. I don't mind. I just fear I'm becoming a burden to my parents.
You can never be a burden to anyone.
That Mr. Wickham is certainly handsome.
Yes. I have something to tell you about him. See, Mr.
My fair cousin. It is my dear Trixie who will grab me in the next dance. I must also confide that it is my aim to remain as close to you as possible, as your chaperone and companion all that.
Oh. Well, I would be happy to grant you one dance, Mr. Collins, but there are so few partners to go around, I would hardly wish to monopolize you, especially when there are so many ladies who would wish to have the pleasure of dancing with you.
Indeed, I'm quite unoccupied all evening.
That's most inspiring.
Wonderful! Charlotte, I really was too good of you to volunteer yourself like that.
He may be a bit formal, but he's not so bad as you had said.
Not so bad.
mentioned to Lane, who does the honors of the house, the names of Lane Captain and her daughter. Who would have thought my Lane perhaps a nephew of hers at this assembly? I am most thankful that the discovery is made in time for me to pay my respects to him, and hope you will excuse me for not having done it before.
You're going to introduce yourself to Mr. Darcy.
Indeed, I am.
But you cannot. He will think it frightfully rude.
Pardon me for neglecting your advice, but in any case, I consider myself ordained by education and mutual study to decide what's best than being well laid on yourself.
Tis the last rose of summer left blooming alone. All her lovely companions are faded and gone.
Excuse me. I was just saying, sir, that I would humbly ask for forgiveness for not paying my respects to you earlier. I have the happy luck of having your aunt as my benefactress.
Indeed, a pleasure.
Yes. I have no reason to be dissatisfied with my reception. He answered me with the utmost civility, on whom I am much pleased. Yes.
Who is that ridiculous man?
My cousin, Mr. Collins.
The infamous Mr. Collins. He seems like a upright sort of fellow. I fear he's been taken.
Heavens, don't say such a thing. I cannot think of a more unappealing suitor.
I think I could name one. Would you have come to me next?
Is even she taken in by his tricks? Does she know how it hurts me to see her dancing with my enemy that way? From the moment he breaks her heart, we will have seen his last day. Why does he win her smile, her laughter, when he's only playing the actor? And here am I, willing to die for one love's
It's time to go. Oh, here we go. Lizzie, oh, what about the delightful ball? Did you see Jane and Mrs. Bingley? They danced all night. I think we'll have a proposal any day now.
Mom, please, you'll be overheard.
Oh, Lizzie, what do I care if I am? What a delightful couple they would be. Come on, Mr. Let's go on. Oh, indeed. Good night, Mr.
Bingley. Good night, Mr. Darcy.
Miss Bennet.
Yes, good night, Miss Bennet.
Really?
For God's sake, woman, I was being polite this time. Goodbye, everyone. Please call again soon, and thank you for attending. Good night, Miss Jane.
Good night.
Oh, really, Charles, you cannot be serious.
I love Miss Jane.
She's an angel, the most beautiful
Mr. Bennett, I was wondering if I might have your permission to speak with Miss Elizabeth privately.
I'm sure there's nothing that can't be shared with the rest of us.
Oh, don't talk nonsense, Mr. Bennett. Of course you may, Mr. Collins. Girls, come on, let's give them some privacy.
No, Ma, I'm sure that's not necessary. Jane.
Believe me, Miss Elizabeth, that your prostation modesty do not do you any disservice, but rather adds to your perfection. You would have been less amiable in my eyes had there not been this little unwillingness. You can hardly doubt the purpose of my discourse. However, your natural modesty may lead you to dissemble. My intentions have been too ardent to be mistaken. Almost as soon as I entered the house, I singled you out as my future wife. But before I run away with my feelings, it would be better for me to explain thoroughly my reasons for marrying. In the first place,
Mr. Collins, you forget I have not answered you. I thank you for the compliment you are paying me, but I really must decline your proposal.
I have heard that it is usual with young ladies to reject the first addresses of their future husbands. In fact, your natural modesty may lead you to decline once or twice. I am by no means discouraged, and shall hope to lead you to the altar once you have overcome your bashfulness.
Really, Mr. Collins, your hope is too extraordinary after my declaration. I am not one of those women who would toy with a man's affections that way. I am completely serious in my refusal. We could never make each other happy, and I am sure Lady Catherine would find me unsuitable in every way.
I must disagree. In any case, before we return to Rosings, I will speak in the highest terms of your beauty, wit, and other amiable
Mr.
characteristics.
Collins, I am sure that is not necessary. Really, I don't know how to express my refusal in any other way to convince you that it is one. Really, I hope you to be very happy. And indeed, I ensure your happiness by refusing. Consider the matter settled.
You are uniformly charming.
Oh, Mr. Collins! Oh, she will be persuaded! Lizzie! Oh, Mr. Bennett, hurry!
Mama, I can't.
Elizabeth Bennett, if you insist on refusing him, well, I will never forgive you. How could you be so selfish? Have you forgotten what kind of position we're in? If we make him angry, we will lose the house when your father dies.
Who says I'm dying?
Oh, thank goodness, Mr. Bennett. Oh, you must make Lizzie marry Mr. Collins.
Well, I'm sorry, Lizzie. It looks like from now on you will be half an orphan.
What do you mean?
Yes, what do you mean?
Well, your mother will never speak to you again if you don't marry Mr. Collins. And I will never speak to you again if you do.
Well, I see perhaps I've overstayed my welcome.
Oh, Mr. Collins, she will see her error, I promise.
Please excuse me.
Mr. Bennett, I will never forgive you.
I'm sorry, my dear, but I can never see our Lizzie married to someone so ridiculous.
You don't love me.
You
purpose of my discourse. However, your natural modesty may lead you to dissemble. My intentions have been too ardent to be mistaken. Almost as soon as I came to the country, I singled you out as my future wife. But before I run away with my feelings, it would be better for me to explain thoroughly my reasons for marrying in the first place, Lady Catherine.
You do not need to explain yourself, sir.
I assumed that you would reject me the first time I asked you to point with natural modesty.
Indeed, no, sir. I would not torment you so. I thank you, and I accept your proposal.
Wow! Name the day of marriage, and you shall make me the happiest man on earth. Do not fret too much, my dear, about Lady Catherine. When we arrive, I will hold her of modesty, economy, and other amiable characteristics.
Thank you.
Mrs. Lucas, your visitor was getting quite aggressive and Mr. Collins.
Lizzie, I have the most wonderful news. Mr. Collins has just proposed to me, and I have accepted. What?
What?
But Mr. Collins has only just been rejected by Lizzie. Charlotte, may I speak with you a moment? Of course, what's the matter? Charlotte, you can't. It's my last chance, Lizzie. I'm not so fortunate as you. I can't afford to turn down a suitor. But he cannot make you happy. And why not? I'll have my own house, security, and things of my own. And he is a kind man, a bit pedantic at times. But that's enough. Just because he wasn't good enough for you doesn't mean he won't suit me just fine. I hope you find happiness somehow.
Well, congratulations, Miss Lucas. Girls, to think that Lady Lucas married off that plain thing before any of my beauties. Oh, and you could have had him. But now, that Charlotte Lucas is going to be living in my house and eating my nice things. Oh,
Mama, please not now.
oh, my poor nerve! A wedding, finally! My dear, weddings are such an adventure.
You can say that again.
Now, Mr. Lucas. To think that she could marry off that plain old thing before our girls. Oh, and this is all your fault, Mr. Bennett.
Mrs. Bennett, I could never imagine that husband for any of our girls. Of course, some of those Fordyce sermons on morality would have had a little influence on Lydia and Kitty. I mean, Kitty and Lydia.
Oh, Mr. Bennett, you're so tiresome.
I hear
news is the most wonderful.
Has Bessie finally had a cab?
No, not the cow. Her ladyship, the affable, the lovely, the incomparable Lady Captain de Burgh has invited us to dinner.
Oh, Lizzie, this is quite an honor.
The highest of ours. Oh, do not worry, Miss Elizabeth, about your appearance. Lady Captain has never looked down on the humble.
Thank you, Mr. Collins.
Make haste, we want you immediately. What a fine meal. Such excellent potatoes. And the succulence of the pheasant is unparalleled. And
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Collins. That is quite enough flattery for the moment. Miss Bennet. Mrs. Collins tells me you have 4 sisters.
Yes, Your Grace. One older and 3 younger.
Good heavens, your governess must have had her hands full.
We never kept a governess.
I never heard of such a thing. Your mother must have taken many pains over your education.
I assure you she did not. My mother did not take many pains other than finding us all husbands, Your Grace.
My aunt, the most wonderful governess. You are quite accomplished, are you not, my love?
I suppose so. I've always rather enjoyed reading. I as well.
But can you play the piano, Miss Bennet?
Only a little and very poorly.
What a pity. I adore music. I think Anne would have made a wonderful musician, if not for her poor constitution. Would you not?
If you say so, Mother.
She is too modest. Well, Miss Bennet, favor us with a song?
I protest I would not force my playing on anyone. I am truly awful.
I doubt that, for your sister Miss Mary plays so marvelously well. Good evening, Miss Mary.
Mr. Darcy?
You are acquainted with my nephew?
Your nephew?
Why, yes, Fitzwilliam is to inherit Rossins when I die. And I sufficient to his already lovely Pemberley estate.
It's William.
Miss Bennet and I became acquainted when I was visiting the Bingleys.
Ah, yes. Play something, Miss Bennet.
Colonel Foster at your service. I believe I've done some business with your father.
Yes, I recognize your name. Pleased to meet you. How long have you been acquainted with Mr. Darcy?
Quite some time. A capital fellow, Darcy. He was just telling me how he saved his friend from a most unfortunate match.
Oh,
Yes, that fellow, Bingley, apparently, was about to throw away his fortune on some pretty country lass or another. But we all have been there, I suppose.
indeed. What was so awful about the couple that he had to separate them?
He did not think the girl reciprocated Bingley's admiration fully, though the chief problem, as I understand it, was the family.
What was wrong with them? He had to separate them.
Rather lacking in piety, I think, especially the mother. She seems like a real piece of work.
Indeed. Excuse me.
Why do you stop playing this? I was enjoying it.
You are too kind. Lady Catherine, thank you for the hospitality.
You must excuse my cousin. Raised without a governess, you know. When I visited, I tried to adore Miss Elizabeth and her sisters.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Collins, most illuminating. Mrs. Collins, would you take over on the piano?
Of course, ma'am. Perhaps we could play a duet.
And make it so.
Excuse me, please, Catherine. visitor. Miss Bennet, I can hide my feelings no longer. Though it goes against all my good sense and judgment, and though you are my inferior in birth, I cannot restrain that which I feel.
And what is that which you feel, Mr. Darcy?
That I love you most passionately. I humble myself before you with no regard for my fortune or upbringing to ask, no, thank you, be my wife.
That is quite enough, Mr. Darcy. I must refuse.
Is that all the answer you have to give?
No, indeed not. That you have asked me to marry you, in spite of your better judgment, and in a manner in which my inferiority was made perfectly clear, is maddening enough. But how could you think that I would ever accept a man who ruined the happiness of my dear sister?
As to that point, I can only say that I did what I thought was best.
Why did you do it? Why did you separate them?
Because I did not think that your sister was as in love with Bingley as Bingley was with her.
She is modest and shy. She was heartbroken when he left.
I suppose I was mistaken on that point. However, I must confess that the impropriety shown by your mother, your 3 younger sisters, and even your father made such a marriage to Bingley seem unfortunate for a man of his station.
And what of Mr. Wickham?
What of him?
How can you account of your actions towards that young man, ruining his prospects out of petty jealousy?
See, he has gotten to you too, then. Well, as for my actions toward that man, I ask not to be judged until you knew the whole story.
I have heard quite enough. If marriage to my sister would have been unfortunate for Mr. Bingley, marriage to me can only be the more unfortunate for you. I must confess to you, Mr. Darcy, that from the first moment I met you, your manners, your conceit, your arrogance, and your selfish disdain for the feelings of others had made it so that I had not known you a month before I felt you were the last man in the world whom I can ever be prevailed on to marry.
You have said quite enough, madam. I perfectly comprehend your feelings, and am now only ashamed of what my own have been. I will take up no more of your time. Please accept my best wishes for your health and happiness. Goodbye.
Lizzie, are you out here?
Charlotte, Lizzie. The next day, I was to receive a letter that would change forever the course of my life.
Dear Miss Bennet, do not be alarmed upon reading this letter. If you are worried that I will repeat again those same sentiments which last night were so repulsive to you. I write merely to address the 2 issues you laid in my charge. For your sister, I am truly sorry. I did not know her nature as you do, and thought she cared not for and her indifference incited me to act the way which you have seen, and your family only helped my cause. But how mistaken I have been, and will do my best to right this wrong. As to that other weightier charge of having injured Mr. Wickham, I can only refute it by laying before you his entire connection to my family. Mr. Wickham is the son of a very respectable man who had for many years the management of all the Pemberley estates. £1,000 and a small parsonage. Mr. Wickham quickly gambled away the money and refused the parsonages, preferring it instead to its equivalent in cash, which I gave to him. When this was gone, I refused to give him any more of my father's money.
Then his villain's heart was evinced. He sought revenge and fortune in one fell swoop. And my younger sister he convinced to run away with him and be home. I caught up with them, thanks to God, and he left her breaking her heart. Her fortune was all he had his eyes on, and felt nothing for her from the start.
My sister was 15. I did not reveal this before, because I was not master enough of my own feelings to know what could or should be told. If you still hate me so much that you do not believe this letter, so be it. I will only add, God bless you. Sincerely, Fitzwilliam Darcy.
I had been so blind. I saw the truth of what Mr. Darcy said in Mr. Wickham's own account of himself and of his behavior toward Mr. Darcy. As for poor Jane, I could only hope that Mr. Darcy would right his mistake and hoped that I would be given the chance to right mine in treating him so harshly. Mama, look. Why are you not laughing? I've worked so hard on this hat.
Well, Jane, I have resolved that if Mr. Bartleby, or whatever his name is, does return, that we will not speak to him.
Mama, it's all right, Mama.
Who cares how Mr. Bingley when we are dying?
Oh, what shall we do?
The worst day of my life!
Good heavens, girls, what's happened?
You haven't heard? The regiment is leaving!
All of them.
Yes, all of them, Mr. Denny, Mr. Wickham, the whole bunch.
Thank goodness.
Oh, girls, don't worry. There are always more redcoats to be had.
Lizzie, you seem awfully happy to see them go. Jane, I have so much to tell you. Hello?
Oh! Nice to see you. What brings you to the country?
Well, Mr. Gardner's business brought him near the area, and I could not resist dropping in to visit my
Georgiana.
Lovely to meet you, Miss Bennett. I've heard ever so much about you. Oh, well, it is lovely to meet you as well. My brother says you play the piano exceedingly well. Do you play duets? Only when forced. I fear your brother has quite exaggerated my skill. Well, the next time you are here, I must insist that we play together. I should like that.
Mr. Darcy, you have a lovely home.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Gardner. Where are you staying? In town?
In Lambton.
In Lambton. Yes, I often dine in Lambton. Perhaps I will see you there.
Yes. Well, we really must be going.
Oh, yes, of course. Goodbye, Mrs. Gardner. Miss Elizabeth.
Goodbye. So sorry for the intrusion.
Oh, not at all.
Goodbye, Miss Bennett. I do hope we meet again soon. Yes. And goodbye. Mr. Darcy indeed met us for dinner that night. He was very polite and attentive to my aunt, and I began to hope that my transgressions had been forgiven when I received the second note in the course of the week that was to change my life, this time for the worse. Come home with haste. Lydia has run off with Mr. Wickham. We are making for Scotland and plan to elope. I feel we are ruined. Jane. Mr. Darcy left dinner abruptly after I told him the news, much to my bewilderment. I did not waste time dwelling on his behavior, however, and rushed home to comfort my mother and sisters.
How could you do this to me? Oh, my Lydia, my darling. It is true that you are all ruined now, just ruined.
It's not fair! Lydia's married before me! I'm older!
And none of you have any compassion on my poor nerve.
There, sister. Mr. Foster and my husband will make it all right somehow.
This is a most unfortunate affair and will probably be much talked of. But we must stem the tide of malice and pour into the wounded bosoms of each other the balm of sisterly consolation. Thank you, Mary. That was very comforting.
Read it, Papa!
Mr. Bennett, oh, Mr. Brown.
It's from our dear friend, Colonel Foster. Dear Mr. Bennett,
We have apprehended the couple before the Scottish border. They seem to have no intention of being married, but I hope it will not be long before they are so. Mr. Wickham has demanded £5,000 and an annual payment of £100 during your lifetime. I had no hesitation in complying and will soon be bringing your daughter back to you as Mrs. Lydia Wickham, along with her new husband. Yours, Colonel Foster.
£5,000. I must find a way to pay Colonel Foster back.
But this is blackmail.
Yes, but I cannot refuse.
And so it was that the first of my sisters was married,
they have returned. Not one bit, that's it.
A lot of quaint male home now seems. Hello, girls. Mama.
Lydia!
It's Mrs. Wickham now, dear.
Lydia, for shame.
Oh, Jane, dearest. I'm so sorry to marry before you, the eldest. But I would positively die of shame if I were still unmarried at 23, like you.
You selfish girl. Can you not see how much trouble you've caused?
How? By finding myself a good husband? Mama.
Mr. Wickham.
Colonel Foster, I don't know how I can repay you.
I didn't spend a dime, good man.
You didn't. Who did then?
Mr. Darcy paid a dowry to find us all a wedding.
Mr. Darcy.
How will I pay him back?
Oh, my darling Lydia, married! Oh, what a joy! And a sorrow.
Well, my husband and I really must be going. The regiment has been transferred and we must follow them up north. It's sad to leave you, but such is married life. Right, sweet? Won't you, darling? With the tow row, with the tow row, to the British grandma dear.
We were in quite a tumult after Lydia left, and had just calmed down when we received another unexpected visitor.
Hello.
Oh, hello, Mr. Bingley.
How are you doing today?
Fine. Welcome to our humble home.
Thank you. Mr. Darcy and I just returned here, and I was wondering if I could possibly,
Would you like to stay for lunch?
no thank you, ma'am. I was rather wondering if I could speak to Miss Jane. Alone.
Oh. Oh! Oh! Yes, of course! Oh, come on, girls! Oh, let's go take them the wash, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, Jane. Oh, yes. Oh,
Miss Bennett. Miss Jane. May I call you Jane?
Of course.
Jane, I feel I must apologize.
What for, Mr. Bingley?
Please, call me Charles.
All right then, Charles. What could you possibly have to apologize for? You've been nothing but kind and gracious to us.
And for that, I've been the biggest idiot I've ever heard of. I should have left off being polite and told you that. You see, I've missed you, Jane. And I was foolish to leave without telling you that. I should have told you for the longest time, since the first time I laid eyes on you. I thought you were an angel. An angel. The most beautiful thing I've ever seen. You're the most amazing thing in my life. And Jane,
Yes, Charles?
can you forgive me and be my wife?
Yes. 1,000 times yes.
Oh,
uncle and aunt are nobodies. Do not imagine that I am ignorant of their condition. Now, tell me once and for all, are you engaged to my nephew?
I am not.
And will you swear never to enter into such an engagement?
I will not, and I certainly never shall. If your nephew should find me an agreeable wife, then it is none of your concern.
This is your real opinion. This is your final resolve. Oh, you refuse to obey the claims of duty, honor, of gratitude. You are determined to ruin him in the opinion of his friends and make him the contempt of the world.
Neither duty, nor honor, nor gratitude can have any possible claim on me in this instance. Now that you have insulted me in every possible way, Lady Catherine, let me bid you good night and show you the door.
I have nothing further to say. You know my sentiments, Miss Bennet. And make no mistake, I will carry my point. Well, I take no leave of you, Miss Bennet. I send no compliment to your mother. You deserve no such attention. I am most seriously displeased.
feelings are the same as they were when we spoke in my aunt's garden. My thoughts and affections are unchanged. One word from you will silence them forever.
Ever since I read your letter, I realized how blinded I was by prejudice. No, Mr. Darcy, my feelings are certainly not the same. Forgive me, I do not know how to say what I'm feeling.
Is it possible that you love me?
we are gathered here today in holy
No need to
matrimony.
repeat what you've already said, Mr. Collins.
You, Jane, and Charles Bingley, your lovely wedded husband. You, Charles Bingley, take Jane Bingley, your lovely wedded wife.
I do.
And you, Elizabeth Bennet, take Mr. Fitzwilliam Darcy.
Fitzwilliam?
As your lovely wedded husband.
I do.
And do you, Fitzwilliam Darcy, although your aunt was ever giving you the soundest of advice and hardly disapproves of
Yes,
this
I
match.
do, Mr. Collins, with all my heart. And to the devil with my heart.
Then, pronounce your husbands and wives. Make you kiss the brides.
Well, sisters, I hope you enjoy married life as much as I do.
Well, Darcy, I believe this makes us brothers.
Oh, Mr. Bennet, my darling.
you.